I want to feature a podcast that I listen to that you probably haven't heard of. And so for our podcast feature this week, I want to feature Craig Lewis's Running Tales. Now, you can find this on Spotify if you search for Running Tales. And on Substack, he has his information at symbol Running Tales. So his name comes up as Craig Lewis as the name, but his actual tag, if you will, is Running Tales. So, and if you go to his Substack, you can subscribe for free to get updates from him. He has a YouTube channel as well, which I'm going to show a clip of the episode for this particular feature. But he's doing kind of something similar that I am in the running space, where he's interviewing just amazing people in the running world, but not like the big names, not like somebody you saw break the marathon record, not that type of person. Somebody who's done just absolutely amazing things that you've probably never heard of. And so what I want to do today, I only listened to one episode and I was hooked on it. And I've asked him for permission to share this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the audio right now. I'm going to keep the cameras rolling. So right now, one of two things is going to happen. This is either going to switch to a clip of I think this is his most recent episode of Steve Cushing. Now, when that transition happens, I'll let the video play and then I'll come back and share some thoughts. Hopefully in this space is the clip, and then I'll come back and talk about it. But this episode is an interview with a guy named Steve Cushing. And this guy is a 75-year-old ultra runner. And when I saw that headline, I immediately jumped on it because the person that inspired me to get into running more, or actually doing competitive running the way that I am now, marathons, half marathons, he was 67, and I thought, or 66 going on 67, and I thought that was impressive. This guy, when you hear the clip that I'm going to share with you, he's done some pretty amazing things. He's fought through some injuries. And so I'm going to play the clip. I'll come back and I'll share what stood out to me from that clip.
It was brilliant. I mean, the first problem was we got to Punta Arenas. We were in Chile, and we were waiting to fly into Antarctica. And we flew in a Lucian jet, the sort of plane you see when food aid is taken out to third world countries. And we were due to land on a 1 mile strip of blue ice. So that's pretty treacherous sort of landing, and some incredible pilots. But they had to wait for the weather conditions to be right before we could take off. I had something like 23 weather checks over a 3-day period waiting to go in. So you can imagine the anxiety and the pressure. It was just mounting and mounting. You'll have a weather check at 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock comes, no, it's not safe to fly. We'll tell you again at 1 o'clock, and you were just waiting. But eventually we got there, and at about 11 o'clock at night, I stepped out of that plane and I stepped onto this 1 mile strip of blue ice, and it was broad daylight.
Yeah.
And it was the most amazing experience. And I just stood there and looked around and thought, if Shackleton or Oates or anybody had been in this spot all those years ago, it would have looked just the same as it looks now. Nothing had changed. It was just, they had this beautiful, almost like a cobblestone runway, just at all the ice. And then the next morning we set off at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, several layers of clothing, as you can imagine. And we were just running on this strip of ice. And it was a beautiful day for the first 15, 20 miles. We were running between some mountain ranges. And then we turned at 20 miles back at the base camp, and we had a 6-mile loop to finish off. And the wind got up and we were having 50-mile-per-hour winds. So on the way back, the last 3 miles, I was not only running on ice and snow, when the temperature was, with the wind chill factor about -20, but I was running into a 50-mile-per-hour wind. And I looked, and you could see just massive distances in every direction. And whichever way I looked, I couldn't see anybody else or anything else at all. It was just me and this huge expanse, and it was great. And just struggled my way over those last few miles, and eventually there was the base camp, and it was done.
So that's just a short clip of him talking about running in the Antarctic. I think he said, I don't know about the stats on this, I didn't fact check it, but I think he says in the episode that he's one of 9 people who've done a marathon in the Antarctic. And his story about running on that sheet of ice, which, you kind of got a glimpse of it there, it just was exciting to me because I've been doing this winter running. I've committed to running through the winter. I've been doing my Winter Beast Challenge on Strava. And I could really just appreciate his description of what he was seeing. And I could almost see it in my mind as he was telling that story. And I'm thinking to myself, the challenge that it is for me to run in the winter, I can only imagine at his age how challenging that is and how difficult it is. And he's actually working towards doing another run. Off the top of my head, I can't remember if it's a marathon or an ultra, but I mean, it just incredible distances at his age. Just absolutely fits the idea of Uncredible. Here's a regular guy who's doing absolutely amazing things. And if you look at Craig Lewis's podcast, it fits the bill too.